Hear ye, hear ye. Hear ye, hear ye. The honorable king has requested your presence. Once upon a time there lived a king, and he was a good king who invited all of the people in the kingdom to gather for a very special announcement. He gathered the people. He went in front of the stage and he looked at the entire audience of people in his kingdom and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to give one of you a life-changing award." A life-changing award. People began to think to themselves, what could this life-changing award be? Maybe it would be a new car. Maybe it would be a new house. Maybe it would be a delectably delicious dish of lasagna. No, it was none of that. It was much better. He opened up a room and inside it was filled with gold. He said, "This entire room of gold, enough gold to swim inside of, will be for one of you." And the people said, well, what do we got to do to get it? I want to get it. Everyone wanted it. He said, "This will be given to the one person in my kingdom who has done the most good." So, one by one, each person in the kingdom started going to the king and started telling them, "Hey, this is what I've done." There was a teacher who went and said, "Look at all of the people who I've taught." There was an artist who came who said, "Look at all of the beautiful things that I have drawn." There was an engineer who came and she said, "Look at this beautiful bridge that I created." And one by one, every single person went until there were 3 finalists. And so again, the king gathered everyone in the kingdom. And he asked these 3 finalists to share what it is that they had contributed to the world. The first one was a doctor. She went on the stage and she showed the new medicines that she was able to invent. And after she presented, everyone in the kingdom started clapping and they were like, "Hurrah, hurrah." But there was one lady at the front who was beaming from ear to ear and she was clapping much harder than everyone. Finally, it was the second person. The second person came up and he said, "I am an author. I am an author of children's books that have changed the world." And after he read his books and presented them, everyone started clapping and they were beaming. And there was that same woman at the front who was grinning and smiling from ear to ear, and she was clapping much harder than everyone else. And finally, there was a last person. The last person was an engineer. And she said, "Look at these buildings that I have constructed, and look at these airports that I had invented. If it weren't for me, none of this would be here in the city." And everyone started clapping. And again, there was that woman at the front who was smiling from ear to ear. Now, the king had a tough decision. How was he going to just pick one? He went back into his office and he started scratching his head and he started thinking, how am I going to pick one of these people? They're all good. I promised one of them. I just don't know what to do. And so he thought to himself, let me call that lady. That one lady at the front, the one lady that was grinning from ear to ear. Maybe she might know. And so he summons her. She comes into the king's court and she says, well, what would you like me to do? And he says, "Ma'am, I want you to pick. I saw you grinning. I saw you clapping. Let me know which one you want to pick." And the lady said, "Look, I can't pick any of them." And he said, "Why?" And she said, "Because these 3 people are my children. I can't just pick one of them. They're all of my kids. I just can't do it. And finally, the king knew exactly which member of his community had done the most. The one person in his community that he needed to give this special gift to, because this person had done the most good. And so finally, he gets in front of everyone and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present this gift to..." It wasn't the doctor. It wasn't the author. It wasn't the engineer. No, he called up that lady. On that lady, he put a crown and he said, This person is the one who has done the most for our country. She is the one who's done the most for our community. Why? Because this mother raised these kids. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am hoping you are well, and thank you for joining me on this wonderful day as I talk to you about something that I really care about. I'm going to talk about my mom and where my mom is today, because she's not here in Maple Grove. She's not here in Minnesota. She's not even in this world. So where is she? But before I answer that question and talk about my mom, I want to say thank you for coming. I hope you had a wonderful week. I want you to know that I love you and I care about you, and I'm so happy that you've come to join us today. For those that don't know me, my name is Brother Amin Aaser, and I am the author of Noor Kids. What are Noor Kids? Noor Kids are bunches of books. And today we're going to be talking about something called Happily Ever Hereafter. Happily Ever Hereafter, normally we say, and they all lived happily ever after. That's how almost every story ends. But what does it mean to live happily ever hereafter? Well, here's the thing. My mom, someone who I love a lot, and if you watch regularly, you know I talk about her a lot. Well, a couple of years ago, she passed away. Passed away? Passed away to where? Did she pass on a dish and decide to eat something else instead of lasagna? No. Did she pass on something to wear? No. She passed from this world into the hereafter. Now, to help you understand what I mean, I am going to be reading out of one of our latest books. Actually, this isn't one of our latest books, but it's one of my favorite books called Happily Ever Hereafter. Now, before I read this, I just need to tell you, look, if you are nuts following us on YouTube, we're so close to 6,000 subscribers. So close! I can almost feel it! Subscribe to our channel, okay? And over the next week, we're actually putting up like new animated videos and a bunch of other really cool stuff. So follow us. Also on Facebook and on Instagram, follow us. All right. So with that, let's start reading from this book. Now, before I read it, let me introduce you to the characters. Noor Kids follows a story of 4 characters: Amin, Shireen, Asad, and Amira. They live in a city called Maple Grove, and they go to a school called Northport Elementary. First, there's Shireen. She's got a twin brother named Jaffer, and lots of times you see her trailblazing, like here, where she's playing baseball because she wants to be just like her mom, who works for National Geographic. Then there is Amin. Amin's a sports star. He loves baseball and soccer, and here you see him playing karate. He has an older brother named Hasib who's in college, and sometimes he does stuff without thinking about it, and because of that, he gets into trouble. Then there is Asad. Asad's like a scientist. He likes to break things apart just to figure out how to put them back together again. And he's got a little baby sister named Yusra. And this little lady who you see taking a photo of a butterfly, well, that's Amira. She loves exploring all of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beauty through art and poetry and painting. Now, every one of our books starts with a parent's page. This is for mom and dad, and there are 2 different stories. I'm going to be reading this first story called Life Goes On. But before we start, I need you to say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I didn't hear you. You have to say a little bit louder. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Life goes on. The end, says Dad as he's reading a book called Bedtime Stories. But I don't want it to end. I want you to tell me the story forever, says Amira as she's tucked in her bed. Dad puts the book of bedtime stories back on the shelf. Forever is a long time, Angel, says her dad. Dad tucks Amira into her bed. And she's got a little bear next to her in her bed. No long faces now, says Dad. Tell you what, tomorrow after school, we'll go to the hospital to see Munira, Auntie's new baby. The baby came, says Amira. Yep, and his name is Yusuf, says Dad. I can't wait to see him, says Amira. Mom will visit Munira, Auntie, and I'll tell you the story again. You can tell the story to Yusuf and me both, says Amira. Dad nods and leaves the room. The next day at school, Mr. Salman pairs up the students to work on a project about family trees. Amira's partner is Sarah. Tell me about your parents, Amira, says Sarah. Well, my mom writes articles for the Maple Grove Gazette, and my dad teaches at the university, says Amira. What about your parents? Well, my mom is a scientist, says Sarah. She works in a lab. And what about your dad, asks Amira. Sarah replies, he passed away when I was little. Passed away? Asks Amira. Sarah explains. Passed away means that he's not alive anymore. Amira begins to think to herself, not alive? Moms and dads don't pass away, do they? Says Amira. Sarah takes a green crayon from the supply box. Amira starts thinking to herself, and she puts her hand on her tummy. If I lost my parents, well, who would I live with? If I lost my dad, who would read bedtime stories to me? And how can Sarah be so calm as she's telling me all of this? All day, Amira keeps thinking about her conversation with Sarah. At the lunchroom, Shireen asks, Amira, why aren't you eating? In the classroom, Mr. Salman asks, Amira, do you need help? And in art, Sarah asks, why aren't you using bright colors like you usually do? Amira keeps to herself, lost in thought. She keeps thinking about her mom and dad. I can't imagine losing either of them. All right, now before we go on, let's talk about this a little bit. When someone passes away, like Sarah's dad or my mom, what do you think happens to them? Well, I know that they get buried, meaning, you put them in the ground, but is that it? No, that's not it. It actually gets really exciting from there. I'll tell you about it in a little bit. But why do you think Sarah is so calm about her father passing away? Is she calm? She is calm. But why is she calm? I mean, she's the one who lost her father, and I'm pretty calm about my mom, who I had lost too. We'll have to explore that as we finish the story. On the way to the hospital, after school, Mom and Dad can tell that something is wrong. How was school? Amira asks Mom. Fine, she says. Here's a question for you, says Dad. How do you make a tissue dance? Says Dad. I don't know, says Amira. You put a little boogie in it. You got it, a boogie? A little boogie in that? Little boogie? It was a joke. He was trying to tell a joke. Dad laughs at his own joke. Amira tries to smile but can't. If Dad passed away, who would tell me all these silly jokes? Thinks Amira. At the hospital, Munira auntie tries to stop Yusuf from crying. Why does Yusuf cry so much? Asks Amira. Yusuf is scared. He's been inside his mom's womb for 9 months, and now he's in the world, right? Because the baby had been in mom's tummy for so long, and now he's finally in the world, and he's a little bit scared. He should be happy. He should be happy, says Amira. At least he's alive. Why are you saying this, Amira? Says Dad. Amira pours out her emotions as she tells Mom and Dad about Sarah. I'm just scared, she says. I don't know how I could live without you, says Amira. Mom takes Amira in her lap. You're right. Losing someone you love would be pretty tough. But, my baby, it won't be the end when we pass away. It'll be a new beginning. I don't get it, says Amira. It's just like Yusuf. He was in his mom's tummy. He was in the womb, and he left the womb and then entered this world. In the same way, we'll one day leave this world and enter the hereafter. Do you see that? Just like a little baby, a baby's in the mom's tummy, and when the baby comes out of the mom's tummy, it goes from the mom's tummy into this world, right? In the same way, when we pass away, it's like we're in this world, and then once we pass away, we go to a new one called the hereafter. Dad sits down next to Mom. The hereafter is so much better than this world, says Dad. Really, says Amira? Yes, says Mom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that there will be beautiful gardens with rivers flowing beneath them. Everything you like to eat or drink will be there. We can even meet family members who passed away before us, says Dad. Amira throws her arms around her parents' necks. But if something happened to you, what would happen to me? Says Amira. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care of his creation. Prophet Muhammad's father passed away before he was born, peace and blessings be on him. Then his mom passed away when he was only 6. How could he be so strong without parents, says Amira. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of him through his grandfather. And then his aunt and uncle, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be on him, was not alone. Dad hugs Amira and kisses her on the forehead. Okay, so now let's go back to these questions again. What is the hereafter? Well, I explained it. Just like a baby's in a mom's tummy and leaves the tummy and comes into this world, it's like right now we are in a womb. And when we pass away, we go to the hereafter. And the hereafter is an amazing place where there are gardens and rivers flowing and we can eat whatever we want, all the lasagna in the world. It's amazing. Now the second question. What are all the ways Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care of us? Well, with our Prophet, when his mom and dad died, what happened? He gave his grandfather and then his aunt and uncle. No matter what, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of him, and in the same way, Allah will always take care of us. Now, do you see why Sarah and me, how we're not that sad? We're not that sad because we know that our mom and our dad are in an amazing place, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of us. At school the next day, it's time for presentations. Sarah raises her hand to go first. This is my family. And on here you'll see grandfather, grandmother, mom, and me. As Sarah shares her family, Amin asks an unexpected question. Well, what about your dad? Says Amin. Sarah thinks for a moment before she replies with a smile. Well, he is living happily ever hereafter. The end. Bum, ba-dum. What an amazing story. Now, here's the thing. One of the things that lots of times people will ask and they'll wonder, okay, is, I mentioned in the story that when you live in the hereafter, you get to have your own house and you get to, eat whatever you want and all these different things. But the question that I ask and that I think everyone should ask is this one. Is everyone's house the same house? No, it's not. Everyone's house is actually not the same house. The way that you live your life here will change what your life is in the hereafter. Let me explain. If you want a home that is huge in the hereafter, okay? And when I say huge, what I mean is that there is a swimming pool in the backyard, and there is a zoo that has lions and tigers and giraffes, and it has 3 stories and its own personal chef who cooks you lasagna and ribeye steaks and dal chawal and different things for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have to do good in this world. When we do good in this world, when we're a good person, it's like each time we do something good, we're like we're putting a brick in that home. And in the same way, in the hereafter, if we don't live a good life here, if we're being mean and nasty, well, your house will be a small house. The light bulbs will always have problems. You always have to fix them. The water is going to smell a little bit funny, okay? And so I actually made a little video to talk about what we can do, okay? Because I think about my mom, and you should probably be thinking about your mom and your dad as well, to say, well, hold on. I want my mom and dad to live in the best place. I want my mom and dad to live in a big castle with lots of things that is much bigger than I can ever imagine. So what can I do? Well, made a quick video, all right? Let me make it as big as possible, and let's start it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I want to tell you guys a little bit about my mom, right? Because, oh no, everyone loves their mom, but my mom was truly special. Okay, so this is a photo of me on the left, my brother Muhammad on the top, my sister Shireen, and my mom Shaheen in the middle. Now, everyone says they love their mom, but my mom was truly special. I remember one time I had a test. And I don't know if you guys have like spelling tests at school or math tests at school. And sometimes it can be really scary. Well, this was a 4-hour exam. It was a 4-hour test. And just thinking about it made my throat get dry and my stomach feel like there was a lump of coal in it, and I would get so scared and worried about whether I would do well on it or not. But every time I would go to my mom, she would say, Amin, don't you worry, I'm going to make dua for you, you're going to do just fine. So I remember on the day of my exam, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, and my mom called me on the phone, and I picked up, and when I talked to her, she said, Amin, are you ready for the exam? I said, yeah, I'm ready for the exam. And she said, it's a 4-hour exam. And I said, yeah, Mom, it's a 4-hour exam. And she said, okay, sounds good. Inshallah, you'll do well. And so I started that exam at 7 o'clock in the morning. And at 11 a.m. on the button, exactly 4 hours later, my cell phone rang again, and it was my mom. And I put the phone on my ears and I said, hey mom, what's up? And she asked me, she said, Amin, how did your test go? I said, Mommy, alhamdulillah, the test went really well. And she said, oh, alhamdulillah. And I said, okay, thanks, Mom. Hey, by the way, Mom, how did you know to call me right now? Did you like set an alarm or something? And she said, oh, no, I didn't do anything like that. And before my mom could finish, my dad actually got on the phone and he said, Amin, do you know what your mom has been doing for the last 4 hours? I said, no. Said, Amin, while you were in your exam, sitting answering questions and trying to do your best, for 4 hours your mom was sitting on her prayer mat, making dua for you with Allah, asking that while you were doing your exam, that Allah would help you. That is my mom. And I know that each and every one of you also has an amazing mom. An amazing mom who does wonderful things for you and who loves you with all of their heart, right? We want to give our moms something special, something that when they see it, they'll think to themselves, oh man, I'm so happy about this boy, or I'm so happy about this girl that I have. You know the best prize you can give your mom? It's not a trophy. It's not a card. It's not a flower. It's to be a good person. If I can be a good person and try to be the best human being that I can, it's like me, myself, I am my mom's trophy. She doesn't need a trophy that she can put somewhere on a desk. She doesn't need a card that she can put somewhere in a drawer. No, I can be her gift. If I can be the best person that I can be, that is the best gift That is the best gift that we can be. Oh my goodness, that was really good. I hope you guys like that. Now here's the thing. There was a little bit of an issue with that, and we'll get it fixed, but also that video we're going to put on our YouTube channel later this week along with 2 other ones. So follow us on YouTube so that way you'll be able to see them. And then finally, before we end, I do want to let you know that we have a challenge going on our app. So the app is the Noor Kids app. We have a challenge that's going live today, and so you'll be able to participate. It's called the Sadqa Jariyah Challenge or the Good Stories Challenge, and there's a video there that you will be able to see on the app to see what the challenge is all about. But I'm not going to show it here. I am going to we're going to end our discussion for today. But before we end, I do want to just do Surah Fatiha for the benefit of my mom and also for anyone else who's passed away. And I want to, of course, thank you so much for joining. It's always such a treat. And I'll see you again at the same place, same time next week. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Alright, you guys, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.